Welcome to EliteGuitarist.com. My name is Tavi and I'm a classical guitarist. I look forward to teaching you this wonderful piece of music by Francisco Tarrega entitled Adelita. This piece of music is usually played together with another miniature by Francisco Tarrega entitled Lagrima. You'd often find these two pieces joined together in concert programs. It is a wonderful mazurka, and it is in the key of E minor. It is relatively simple, at least it sounds fairly simple, but there are a couple of very tricky technical aspects to this piece that makes it a little bit deceptive. And so let's get started with Adelita by Francisco Tarrega. For other tutorials just like this one, you could visit www.eliteguitarist.com. So here is Adelita by Francisco Tarrega. The piece is divided up in three sections, A, B, A. The A section is in E minor, with the middle section, the B section, being in E major. So we're going to take each section at a time. So here we go, the first section in E minor. The piece begins by playing two octave notes, E and E together. The low sixth string and the high E played with the fourth finger on the first string, 12th fret. You could play this one with the M finger or the I finger, whatever you prefer. So together, E and E. And from this E, we're going to do a pull-off note, it's a legato, to a D sharp. The D sharp is played with the third finger on the first string, 11th fret. And the pull-off should not be outward, but simply plucking the string downward. It will take a little bit of work until you get this, but try not to have a whole lot of motion. A lot of motion means great danger of plucking other strings, especially when you do legatos on the middle strings. For example, from D, you want to pluck and simply rest with a fourth finger on the next string. So you should imitate the same type of motion and the same distance for this fourth finger to travel. Okay, so here we go, E and E together. And now we're going to go to a B note. This B note is played with the first finger on the first string, 7th fret, followed by E and G natural. The E is played with the third finger on the third string, 9th fret, and the G natural note is played with the second finger on the second string, 8th fret. So, together. And while you play the B note, make sure that you form a chord. It's an E minor chord right here on the 7th fret. And let all the notes combine together. Again. Then we're going to play a D and A together. A, 5th open string, and then D note is played with the fourth finger on the first string, 10th fret. And we're going to pull off to a C note. The C note is played with the second finger on the first string, 8th fret. Again, A and D together. Pull off to a C, followed by an F sharp note. This F sharp note is played with the first finger on the second string, 7th fret, and then C and E together. The C is played with the fourth finger on the fourth string, 10th fret, and the E note is played with the third finger on the third string, 9th fret. So, A and D together, pull off to C, F sharp, and then adding C and E. And this is a chord. So I'm basically forming a chord by adding one note at a time to this chord. After this, we're going to go to a bar chord on the 7th fret. So the first finger will press all 6 strings. And we're going to play a B and C natural together. The B is already pressed on the 6th string with the first finger, and the C note is going to be played with the 3rd finger on the 1st string, 8th fret. Pull off to a B, and this pull off, this B note after the pull off is already pressed with the 1st bar chord. Followed by a D sharp. The D sharp is played with the 2nd finger, 3rd string, 8th fret, and then we're going to play 3 notes together. On the right hand, we're going to play these notes with the I, M, A fingers on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. And the notes are A, played already by the 1st finger, the bar chord on the 4th string, D sharp, played with the 2nd finger on the 3rd string, 8th fret, and then a G natural note played with the 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 8th fret. Let's review this first line. And now we're going to do a mordant here. F sharp and G. So what we will do, we'll play an E low open 6th string and an F sharp note played with the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 7th fret. Hammer on to G and pull off back to F sharp. And we should do this in a relatively fast motion. So the hammer-on should be very solid and the pull-off very controlled. You shouldn't pull off very far away or very outwardly, but simply plucking the string downward with the left hand. Followed by an open E string, 1st string, and then open B string, 2nd string, followed by an E note played with the 3rd finger on the 3rd string, 9th fret, G note played with the 2nd finger on the 2nd string, 8th fret, and then B note played with the 1st finger, 1st string, 7th fret. So for the right hand, we'll use P and I together. M, I, P, I, M. And from this we're going to go back to that initial position. E and E together, E played with the 4th finger on the 1st string, 12th fret. Pull off to D sharp. D sharp played with the 3rd finger, 1st string, 11th fret. Moving back to B, played with the 1st finger on the 1st string, 7th fret, accompanied by E and G together. E played with the 3rd finger, 3rd string, 9th fret, and then the G note played with the 2nd finger on the 2nd string, 8th fret. Back to A and D together. A played as an open 5th string, and then the D note played with the 4th finger on the 1st string, 10th fret, and we're going to pull this off to a C note. The C note played with the 2nd finger on the 1st string, 8th fret, accompanied by F sharp, played with the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 7th fret, and then C and E together. C played with the 4th finger on the 4th string, 10th fret, and E played with the 3rd finger, 3rd string, 9th fret. And then we're going to go back to the bar chord on the 7th position, B and C natural together. C natural played with the 3rd finger on the 1st string, 8th fret. Pull off to B, that B note already pressed with the bar chord, with the bar finger on the 1st string. D sharp, play with the 2nd finger, 3rd string, 8th fret, and then A, D sharp, and G together. And from here we're going to keep the third finger ringing, the G note ringing, and a slide back to the fourth position. So from this bar chord, we're gonna go to the fourth position and play an E minor chord. The notes that we're going to play are going to be plucked with I, M, A for the right hand, and we're going to pluck the fourth, third, and second string. The notes are going to be G, B, and E. The G note played with the second finger on the fourth string, 5th fret, the B note played with the first finger on the third string, 4th fret, and the E note played with the third finger on the second string, 5th fret. And then we're going to wrap up this section by playing an open low 6th string, open E. So again, from the B and C together, 7th position. And that is the first section. The third section will be identical to this first section.